Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am Shamika Simpson. Today we have the wonderful Annelisa Purdie. I met this wonderful woman at the BCALA virtual conference in the Networking Center. We were having a conversation just about getting a library experience, no matter where you are in your library world, whether you are a student, whether you are librarians seeking to change routes, to change jobs. And so this conversation sparked me to ask Annelisa to come and have a conversation with us today about careers and diversity in library science. So welcome, Annelisa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here. Happy to see everyone. Hey.
Thank you. So to get us started, we would like to know, where did you get your MLAs and where do you work and what do you do at the institution you work at?
I got my MLAs from St. John's University in Queens in New York City, and I currently work as a senior children's librarian at the Countee Cullen Library in Harlem. It's right next door to the Schomburg Center. So we're the circulating library, whereas they're the research library. And my age group that I cover is from 0 to about 12 or 13 years old, although I also do a great deal of work with teens and teen programming.
Awesome. So how did you fall into librarianship? How did you become a librarian? Why did you become a librarian?
Well, librarianship found me, in a sense. I've always loved to read. Those were some of my earliest memories, were going with different family members to our branch libraries in New York, getting my cards, spending time there. It's always been one of my favorite places to go. And as I went through school, started thinking about careers, I never considered librarianship until the end of graduate school, when I actually was thinking about preparing to be a teacher. But I realized that the teaching profession didn't quite fit with where I saw myself, even though I loved being around children and helping them discover themselves. And one summer, while I was working, the summer actually after I graduated from grad school, I thought, how about librarianship? People had often asked me when I would be in the library, where can I find such and such? And I would say, I don't work here. I'm just a teenager browsing through the YA section. I don't work here, but it's over there. But I started thinking about it, and I researched different library science programs, looked at the one that was the best fit for my schedule, and I applied to St. John's. That was the best fit, and got in. And I've been a librarian ever since, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Awesome. And we are lucky to have you in librarianship. We need more energetic people. We need more people like you who are willing to fight the good fight for information competency, just to spread the joy, especially with children. You know, that's a really vital age because you're so impressionable. And it's wonderful that we have someone like you in librarianship.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you are so welcome. With our current situation, with the pandemic, with everyone staying at home, working from home, playing from home, doing everything from home, do you believe libraries are still vital? And so do you believe that we can still make a difference?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Libraries are one of the few public spaces that are still free to everyone. It doesn't matter how old a person is, what their ethnic or social status is, what their educational status is. Everyone has the right to come in and can still come in and get whatever they need, whether it be looking for something for a research project, browsing through the shelves, or coming to a program, learning computer skills. Everyone can come in there. And we've actually seen over the years, even with the increase of technology and people having more access to digital services, that library attendance has not gone down. People are still using them. There's something about that space that's still very necessary, that's vital for people, regardless of what their needs are.
Right, I wholeheartedly agree. Right. So this is going to be a loaded question. Well, not loaded way, but I think it's a relevant question. I think now more than ever with Black Lives Matter, with the deaths of so many young Black men and women at the hands of police, I think these questions and what we also face in terms of prejudice and racism in libraries, I think these are vital questions as well. Not to say that, you know, every library mistreats their librarians or staff or anything like that, but I do think thinking about equity, diversity, and inclusion and why it's important in librarianship in order for us to make a change is very important just because of what is going on. And so thinking about those things, why do you feel it's important to have more BIPOC librarians and staff?
Hmm. The main reason why I think it's important to see such a diverse range of people in this profession is because everyone brings something different to the table. Part of what it is to be human and to live in this world as we are is to recognize that we're all different. We're all informed by our experiences of how we grew up and what our beliefs are that have shaped us. And each one of those people has a contribution. Each one of us has a contribution to make to that field. We can't limit our understanding of the world solely based off of how we see it, our personal perceptions of what's going on. We need diverse voices because we need to learn from each other and to have a different point of view on certain issues that may not be talked about often, or even certain areas in terms of scholarship and research or the library's collection that are not focused on. The wider that we make that net of perspectives, of having different voices, having different BIPOC people there, the more that it benefits everyone because we have the full gamut of experiences. We have the full gamut of materials that can help us learn about each other, and we don't limit ourselves.
I agree. I agree. And so with that, do you think it's also important to have non-BIPOC allies?
Absolutely, absolutely, especially when we consider how our society is structured. We have to have those who, even though they may not be in a particular position, can say that I understand that your perspective is different from mine, but I want to work with you to make sure that we're making it more equitable for everyone, because we can't do it on our own. But we need to have people who respectfully and who are willing to listen and do the work understand that in order for change to happen, they have to be willing to consider fully what their colleagues may be going through, even though they're not in that position, and work to help them to make it more equitable for everyone.
Wow, wow. Oh my gosh, I agree. It's so important to be able to see each other for what we're going through, each other as individuals. Too often we kind of lump each other into these big categories. And
Yes.
oftentimes people of color, especially librarians of color and library staff of color, we're afraid to speak out. We're afraid to speak our truth because we're deemed as or rebellious and all the other negative connotations that go with especially a Black person speaking up for themselves. You know, everything comes with these negative connotations, and it's unfortunate. And because of that, oftentimes many of us just shrink back and we don't speak our truth. We stay silent. And so I'm glad that there are non-Black, Indigenous, people of color allies. I'm glad that they are speaking out, especially I've been noticing on social media due to, you know, the most recent death of George Floyd. It's just been a lot of speaking out about how Black lives really matter, and they're spreading their support to all of us Black people. And so I really appreciate the allies. I really appreciate that they are speaking up for us.
Very much so. And when we speak up for others, for the most part, because human nature, but when we are willing to put ourselves out for others to say, I'm not going to allow this to happen to you, I want to hear your voice, it makes others more willing to speak up for us. because a lot of what we've been asking for is reciprocity. And it is, I agree, a beautiful thing to start seeing that reciprocity in earnest now with all that's going on.
Yes, yeah. So we have one last question.
Okay.
And so our last question, so this whole series, of course, was sparked by, I felt that there was to empower the students in my classes. And so this last question, if you can provide upcoming library staff or future librarians with some career advice, what would it be? And specifically advice for students who may never worked in a library.
The main point of advice that I would give those who are thinking about a career in librarianship or are just curious is to research the libraries that are in their community and to get some experience of being in that library as much as they can, whether it's through volunteer work, because every system is different, through working there part-time or being a program assistant. Get some knowledge of how the library itself is structured, how it works, seeing it from day to day instead of coming in, coming back out, because there are so many different components of librarianship. And it's a wonderful field, but it's very varied. And I think that sometimes what happens with MLAs students is that they have a perception of what the field will be like when they start working, whether it's in an academic setting or in archives or in the public setting. And then when they get into those spaces and they start working there full time, it's a bit of a culture shock, right? So in order to offset that a little bit and to get to know the other informational professionals in one's area, as much as experience as possible to make it work with their schedule. And by talking to them, they may be able to create an opportunity for those students if it doesn't show up, if there isn't one there already. But please get into the space. Get into the space as much as they can. That's the best thing. That's one thing that's helped me personally throughout my journey, was working as a library assistant while in school. Please get into those spaces. And it's fun. I promise that it's going to be fun.
Yes, I don't know about always fun. Yes,
Not
but it's
always.
definitely always an adventure. Well, you know
We
what I
have
have to say? When I was at the public library, it was always fun. It was. So I think each type of library has its dynamic of fun. And
Right.
so I know at academic library, we have our fun moments, but we definitely do it. We do. We have some fun moments, but I wouldn't say it's fun all the time. You know, sometimes students are so focused on their work. It's nice to see though. You see all these students in the library and they're so focused on getting their work done. So some days, you know, everybody's just, especially during around finals time, everybody's so focused and all you hear is just typing of the keys and everybody's just trying to get their work done. And it's amazing though. I love the students to come in. I love to see how focused they are. I love it when they come for us, you know, for help. And I even love it even more so when they come in, they're like, oh no. And I'm like, well, do you need help finding it? You know, after you provide the call number or whatever. Oh, no, I know how to find the books. And so to me, that feels so good on the inside. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, they know how to find books already. Yes. And so I do my little happy dance because I'm like, wow, like, you know, the students, you know, I don't know whether they've learned with us or maybe they learned at another library, but it's just nice to see that they feel enough to say, hey, okay, thank you for the call number, but I can go find the book myself. And so
yes, and that's part of our work as informational professionals, isn't it, too, to help people help themselves to a degree. It helps them gain a greater appreciation for what's going on too, which is always wonderful.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And so I just want to thank you again, Annelisa, for allowing me to have this conversation with you, for allowing us to collaborate on this conversation. I love it. You are wonderful to work with. I hope that we will have more projects together, you know, in the future.
Yes.
Just putting that in the universe, you know, some kind of way we'll come back together for some project, because I do think you and I could do something very dynamic together.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And thank you for having me. This was wonderful. And I'm looking forward to more collabs too. This is great.